Hello, it's a sunny summer day here in Southern California. I have been working on some cute as can be treats, and I can't wait to show you how to make this. Hello, I'm Julie, and this is Stamp with Julie Baum. Often when I prepare videos, it's because I've made a project for either a class or for Stamp Club or perhaps my Saturday series called Simply Saturday. But today I'm bringing you a video simply because I've been creating a project here in my stamp studio. It came out really cute and I want to show you how to make it. So what I started with was actually the inspiration of this simple Sour Patch candy, the watermelon ones, which I had a bag of. That inspired a treat so that I could give away some little candies. And then I went off of the pink and green color scheme to determine what I wanted to put on the package itself. So that's kind of how I got started. And then I started pulling products together, and I'm going to show you start to finish how I made mine. I like to use these small treats as party favors. But I also carry them in my purse for just during the week as I'm out running errands, or going to maybe a restaurant for lunch or a coffee shop. I like to hand things out. So I will regularly have small treats like this with me, and just in the spirit of making someone's day, hand them a treat. All right, I have some cello bags. These are 2-inch bags. Cello bags come and go with the Stampin' Up! Offerings, and right now we don't offer any cello bags. So you will have to find these either on Amazon or someplace else. But these are 2-inch by, let me tell you how long they are. Well, they're just short of 10 inches. They're like 9 7/8. So basically they're 2 by 10. But we don't need this whole length. We're going to end up cutting them down anyway. But that's what I'm starting with. So as I mentioned, I have some of these watermelon candies, and I decided that 7 is a good number. So 7 are going into my bag. I needed something to hand out that was not necessarily for a specific occasion. So this is the week of July 4th, but I didn't want to do specific July 4th treats, and I just wanted them to be summery and kind of any occasion. So I think that this pink and green and the watermelon candies did perfectly. Okay, so I've got 7 in the bag. I put them in the bag so that I could determine where to cut this down. And so I just have some scissors. I do want to leave enough here at the top to fold down and staple, and then still have my topper. So I'm going to take off some of this bag, and then I'll tell you what we ended up with, because you could trim all your bags down to begin with if you want. So I have now ended up with a bag that is 5.5 inches tall, 2 inches wide. All right, so there we have that. Now, I have a piece of Parakeet Party cardstock. This is because I have quite a bit of Parakeet Party left, even though this color has retired. And so if you are following along and you're going to copy this little treat and make one for yourself, if you don't have Parakeet Party, then just grab some Granny Apple Green or some Lemon Lime Twist. Either one of those colors, any of those colors will work great. I did a piece that is 2.5 inches by 4 inches, and then I scored it here at 2 inches. So this is going to get folded. This becomes the topper, which when we're finished, this is going to go on to the top of the little treat bag. So 2.5 by 4 inches. Then I have another scrap. So again, choose a scrap of the same color green that you started with. I have a scrap of white that I'm going to be using. I'm not super organized because I wasn't planning on doing a video, but after this came out so cute, I decided we should film it. So forgive me for kind of pulling a little of this and that. So I have a scrap of my green, a scrap of white, and then I have 2 pieces that are the same size. These are 1 3/4 inches by 2 1/8. All right. So what I'm going to do is stamp my bee. Now I am using the Meant to Be stamp set. And in that stamp set, there is a smaller bee, or the baby bee, and a little bit larger bee, or I call her the mama bee. If you'll remember, there is also the Be My Valentine set that has bees in it, and that has a different size bee. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is either the mama and the papa. Let's get the set so that we don't have to guess. Okay, let me grab that set and we'll determine. There we have it. Now it's clear. Okay, so Be My Valentine is the medium-sized bee. So this is the mama bee, and that can get punched out with the Bee Builder Punch. All right, so there's that. We are only using the heart from this stamp set. So you could even pull a heart or a small flower from somewhere else if you don't have this one. That's all I'm going to be using. Then the rest is from Meant to Be. So I'm using the baby bee and the baby bee stripes. And then Cute as Can Be is also going to be used, the antenna and the face. All right, so I took my white scrap, and it's totally up to you when you're using these items if you stamp the oval, the body of the bee first, or if you stamp the stripes. I have found through lots of stamping that I can actually line it up better if I do my black stripes first. So I'm going to put those down here on my white cardstock. I've got sugar here from the candy. All right, and then I'm going to do a second one while we're at it. I will either use it after this video, or if we have trouble with one, at least I've already got my second one stamped. All right, then I am using Pretty in Pink. I felt like that was the best pink to use that would match the color of the candy. I started with Calypso Coral, but it did not look right. All right, so with my oval now, I'm going to line it up right at the stinger and the stripes and get my pink. If I'm doing yellow for a traditional bee color, I do it the same way. I do my stripes and then my oval, but that method might not be for everybody. All right, then on my green scrap, I am going to stamp the wings, which I'm looking for. Here they are. Here they are. All right, and we need 2 sets of wings per bee. Like so. We are also going to need antenna. So I think I can just do that on here. Looks like there's something on that one. That one's better. Okay, so we've got antenna, a couple of bees, we've got our wings, and yes, we will do some more stamping. Let me move this aside. We're going to do some die cutting with these pieces. I have my white piece, one of the 2. This is going to go on the back of the project, and I'm going to stamp the words in black. Little Cabby, my Yorkie, has come into the room with a toy. So I don't know if you hear that squeaking. Her sister, Pino, is asleep on my chair as I'm doing all of this. She likes to nap while I'm working. She thinks she's working too. All right, so there I have the words, and then with that small heart that I borrowed from the other stamp set, I'm just going to add a Pretty in Pink heart right here, like so. Okay. Then on the second piece of white, I'm going to stamp the word hello. Now remember, I didn't want this to be birthday or any specific occasion, just something fun and cheery. So I got the hello stamp from this set. more than autumn. There's so many great little words in here. So I grabbed hello, and still with my pretty in pink, I'm just going to add this at an angle right down here in the corner, like so. Okay, let me close my ink pads so I don't accidentally stick the cardstock or my hand in them. And let's bring in the mini machine to do our die cutting. All right, so in my mini machine, I have a 1 plate and 2 number 2 plates. And I'm going to cut my wings out. So there's only one wing die for the small wings, and then there's a different wing die for the larger wings. So we're going to have to do this twice because I need 2 wings. And I'm also going to get some low tack artist tape. I like to use this because it's very economical. It comes on a big roll. You only need a little piece at a time, and I even reuse my pieces a couple times before they're not sticky anymore. So I'm going to line this up. I have cut several pairs of wings before, and I realized that I really need it high enough so that the die doesn't cut off the top edge of the wings. So I think I have this positioned correctly, and let's cut that first one out. And then we'll go back and do the second one. I'm going to pop that down and out, gently having the tape removed. And there's my first set of wings. Okay, now I'm going to change the position of the die for the second one. All right, lining this up, making sure that I'm high enough that I'm not going to cut off the top bump of the wing. Now, if I was using my regular size machine, which is kind of clunky to drag over here to my filming space, I would do a bunch of these cuts at once. But because I'm using my mini so that you can watch the process, I am just cutting out single images at once. I might try to do 2 in the next pass. Let's see how we do. Same thing, I'm punching that out down. I don't want my tape to stick to it because even though it's low tack, it's pretty sticky and sometimes sticks to the cardstock. So there's my 2 wings. Okay, we're done with that. We're going to need the bee body. And so I'll do the same process. I'm going to put that on, hold it down with a little piece of tape. And I want to make sure that I get all the way to the point of the stinger. All right, so that's in place, and I think we can do the antenna at the same time. So let's do that. There are 2 of the antenna dies that come in that set of dies. So if you're cutting out lots of bees, you can cut out more than 1 at a time. All right, we've got our bee and our antenna, and we'll run that through. Okay, there's our bee body. Oh, it's gonna stay stuck in there. I'll just use take your pick tool to pop that out. All right, and there's the little antenna. Okay, let me see if that's everything that we needed to cut out. I think it is. Okay, let's move this out of the way. Move my dies out of the way and put them someplace where I can see them. They're so tiny. You do not want one of your dies to go missing. Okay, so to put my bee together, well, first let's put a little face on there. So I've got the little smiley face with the happy squinty eyes. And we'll just put that right here. I'm going to have my bee flying in an upright position as opposed to flying sideways. This little bee is going this way. And look how cute it is in the pink. Just adorable. Okay, I've got my silicone mat here. This is going to be really helpful. I'm going to start with my wings. Just put the tiniest dots of glue here, here, and here, and go ahead and stick my bee on it. And then same process. Let's put dot, dot, dot over here. And put those wings on, take a quick peek. That looks nice and straight and even. Okay, so we've got that, and then we'll add our antenna in the same manner. It kind of slid a little bit. I could probably do a little better if I wasn't busy recording. The one I show you at the end, the antenna is straighter. All right, there we go. Now our bee is complete. Okay, let me show you how I put my treat together. So I've got my bag with the candies already inside. I'm just going to fold down the top so that there's a nice even crease, a fold there. And then I'm going to place this over my fold. And I like the edges of my cellophane bag toppers to stick out a little bit wider than the cello bag. Then I'm going to grab a stapler, which, hold on. I needed 2 hands to reach over here and grab that. All right, and then I'm just going to staple. Now, if you didn't want to staple and you don't want any fastener to show, you could use your Terran tape and stick this all together with tape. But honestly, it doesn't bother me, and I'm probably going to be making 8 or 10 of these. So it's just faster to use a staple. And I'm going to put it way at the bottom, like so. It's mostly going to get covered anyhow. All right, cute as can be is going to go on the back. Let's go ahead and attach that. I'm not super concerned about this lasting forever because it's a treat container. It's going to get ripped open so that the recipient can get to the candy. So as long as everything is sticky and holds nicely while I carry them around and deliver them, that's fine. But I don't have to worry about this being down like with super strength tape or anything. Okay, there's the back. I'm going to flip it to the front, add my little piece with the hello. Same thing, kind of centered. It is going to cover the staple. So my side margins are a teeny bit wider than the top and the bottom. It's just how I chose to do it. You could make this white piece a little bit longer. It's 2 1/8 across. You could make it 2 1/4 if you wanted to fill up more of that green, but this is what I chose. And then my little bee is just going to go on here like so. Now what I decided to do, because I really don't want like the bee popping off when I'm carrying it around in my purse or in a little bag, so I do want him on there rather securely. So I'm going to use some Terran tape. If you wanted to just use your Stampin' Seal or your green glue, I'm sure that would hold it quite well. But I'm going to use 2 little pieces of Terran tape and stick it down right over the wings, which is also reinforcing those wings staying attached. So that's not hurting anything. All right, and then getting the backing up from this. Now it's ready to go onto the project. All right, at a little angle. And what I realized is this is actually planned quite well because the edges of the wings ideally should not stick off. I mean, it's cute if it sticks off, but you're also maybe prone to it getting bent or crushed if you're carrying these around. So I just slid it down a little bit so that the whole thing fits within the border of that green piece. That would be up to you. All right, at this point I was done. I think it's super cute. Again, it's just a free little gift to hand out. But I wanted a little bit of sparkle or bling. So I happen to have these loose pink elements. They're like sequins and pearls and such. This particular one is not currently available, but there are some loose shaker elements that are still available from Stampin' Up. So go ahead and look through what you have perhaps, or grab a loose sequins or loose shaker elements from the online store. So I'm just going to take a little pinch and put them here, then I can see what I've got to work with. And once again, the tiniest dots of adhesive. So I'm going to put one here, here, and here. And I know I'm just finishing up, but there's a chance that my dogs are going to bark because FedEx just pulled up. And so we'll see what's going to happen. All right, I'm going to use one of these sparkly ones. I hope it's not something I have to sign for, because then I'm going to have to go dashing off to do that. And I'm so close to finishing. There's the silver, or the white sparkly one. Here is kind of a solid hexagon shape. It's going to go here. And then I'll use one of these pink ones. So I used a little mix and match. Cue doorbell, cue dogs. All right, and there, I'm gonna rush off to see if I need to sign. I think we're okay. He's going back to his truck and does not have my package in his hand. Oh my goodness, what are the chances? All right, so there is our completed little treat. Look at how sweet. It is truly cute as can be. Thanks so much for watching. I actually do have to go to the door, so see you next time.